Hello again, guys, and welcome back to another Big Al Devlin video here at the House of Devlin. Thank you very much for tuning in. And this is a continuation of our Nordic stories that I promised you. And my original plan was to tell you the stories in sequential order, so from the beginning to middle to end ultimately. But in Nordic paganism, time is not a loop but a circle regardless, with a start and an end point. And so the start, or the beginning, or creation, or cosmology as we call it within Nordic paganism, is right next to Ragnarok, which is the Viking apocalypse. And so to me, actually, it makes more sense to tell you the end straight after the beginning, because one leads on to another, whichever way you look at it. So I will be covering the middle bits, but for a period of time, and I don't know how long, I will be covering the stories of Ragnarok, the Viking apocalypse, because this is an epic and legendary story with many deaths and heroic deeds. Oh, it's got it all. It's a very exciting story to tell you, but really it's a set of stories, and that is why I'm going to tell you now. Quite bluntly, I'm not telling you the entire story of Ragnarok in one video, because it'd probably last minimum of 2-3 hours, and I wouldn't be giving it justice. So I will be telling you it in bits, and I will do that in order as best as I can until we reach the end where Ragnarok finally occurs. Okay, so I'll be telling you about the major events in Ragnarok. And the best place to start with the end is, of course, at the beginning of the end. And the beginning of the end was sired when Jormungandr, who was a giant, who was a sea serpent to be precise, but it was of the giant clan of gods. He was the son of Loki and his mistress, his giantess mistress, and he was cast into Midgard by Odin and the other gods when they just saw that he was too beastly. He was going to be too big, too strong to handle within Asgard. So they threw him into Midgard's oceans and kind of let him be our problem, basically, until, of course, the end where Ragnarok occurs. And at the beginning of the end, and this is where our story begins, so I hope you're sitting comfortably, Jormungandr rises from the seas of Midgard. Bear in mind, this is a gigantic serpent, a dragon, if you will, that can wrap his entire body around the corpse of a mere and bite its own tail. So this truly is a son of a mere. He is immense in size, strength, constitution, and he is deadly. And I mean super deadly. Not just because of his size and strength, but because of two important things. His fangs in his mouth, which flow the most potent venom you could ever imagine. Many would call it God-killer venom, for it is the only poison, the only venom known to be able to kill a god. Well, Jormungandr rises from the seas, and this is the beginning of Ragnarok. And he ascends into the skies and bites into the skies, which we know as pagans, of course, as the skull of Ymir. The poison enters the skull and very quickly destroys it, and the skies come tumbling down within Midgard. And this is defined as the moment that Ragnarok begins, when the skies themselves fall. Well, it doesn't take long, of course, for there to be a reaction, and the reaction is mighty indeed, and it's as profound as you'd expect from the protectors of Midgard. Asgard send Thor, the mightiest of all the gods, the strongest without doubt. And they send him straight to Jormungandr. He comes hurtling out the skies, lightning and thunder following him, until he slams into the ground, making his presence very much known, with crackling energies around him. However, he does not wait, not even for a moment, as he grabs his mighty hammer Mjolnir and charges Jormungandr. Before Jormungandr could really react, Thor was already on top of him, ready to deal the fatal blow to the mighty beast. But the beast reacted fast and coiled around Thor, and they wrestled with one another, the might of a gigantic serpent against the might of the most powerful of all the gods. Well, Thor broke free and climbed up the serpent, trying to get to its head, where he would deal a mighty blow to his skull to kill the beast in one final blow. Lightning and thunder was cracking everywhere, but it could not pierce the scales of this mighty beast. But the beast, just as Thor climbed up his back, the beast turned and managed to bite Thor just as he was about to deal the fatal blow upon his skull. The fangs went deep into Thor's mighty muscular legs, and the venom entered Thor's body. Pain coursed through his system. Unbelievable pain. Pain incomprehensible to mere mortal minds. But Thor was a warrior, and just like the mortal Vikings, he himself did not care of pain. He used it to fuel his strength, to fuel the fire within him of determination and of grit. And he pulled the fangs out of his leg, and Jormungandr was for a moment stunned. Thor lived. And as he lived, he raised his mighty Mjolnir, the hammer, and slammed it into the top of the skull of Jormungandr. And when he did this, the skull cracked, and it cracked mighty. And lightning bolt, just to finish the blow, went straight into the head of Jormungandr and fried the brains of the mighty serpent, who came tumbling down from the skies back into the seas. Thor fell and landed onto a nearby beach, and he raised himself up, unaware of the pain and the venom flowing through his body. He was valorous. He was victorious. And with this valor, he simply turned his back upon the corpse of the mighty serpent that he slew. And he walked away. But 9 paces later, the venom reached Thor's heart. The god-killer venom reached the mightiest of all the gods. And as it did so, our mighty hero fell. He stumbled to his knees and died instantly, not even taking a final breath, not even having time to issue final words. The mighty Thor was undone, and lightning and thunder would never be heard again within this world, a world that would not survive much longer.